There we go. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are here today for a demo and discussion of Tracks, the newest feature coming to Hylo. My name is Claire, and I'm the director of product. And I'm joined by Tibet, our technology lead, and Krisha, our community lead. And we're really excited to show off this feature for the first time. And it's going to be live in the wild really soon. Um, so yeah, we're gonna share all about it. Some of you I know are coming from the Crew for All community, so you have a little bit more context. And for anyone joining from the Hylo side of things, I'll just catch you up real quick. Crew for All is an incredible nonprofit technology that has been serving organizations for years and years, and they are sunsetting their platform this fall. It's primarily a learning and organizing platform with a little bit of the community element. And Crew wanted to, um, it was the natural end of the life cycle of Crew as a technology, but they wanted to continue their work and all the resources they had built together in a good way. And they reached out to Hylo because they could see that we had very strong values alignment. And with the remaining resources in Crew's treasury, they granted Hylo some resources for us to build Crew's learning technology into Hylo so that any community using Crew for All who wanted to be able to migrate to a values aligned platform could do that. So there are some folks from Crew here who, some of them have already made the decision. They're definitely coming to Hylo. Some are still making that decision. It's a really big decision, so understandable. And so this recording will be shared with the Crew folks to help make that decision. And then for everyone from Hylo, you just are benefiting from this. And we're finally going to have learning tools in Hylo, which is something we've been talking about and people have been asking for years and years. And so it's finally happening and it's really exciting. And we're so grateful to the Crew for All stewardship team for just being amazing humans in the world and for setting this awesome example of collaboration and like composting what they've done and allowing the resource that they've built with their technology to continue to feed the community of purpose-driven groups in the world. It's really a beautiful story, and I do have a blog post somewhere I'll post in the chat that explains a little bit more about it. Um, but today we are ready to demo what we've built. It's very inspired by how tracks work on Crew. And we've spent a lot of time talking with the Crew team about exactly how the features work over there, going through their interface, understanding those. And then I've spoken to a lot of Crew communities to understand what parts of that technology were most critical, and how they use it. And we've done our very best to honor that and build our version of tracks in a way that will be really useful to current Crew communities. We obviously can't rebuild every single every single thing Crew has done over the years and years and years. But we really focused on replicating the tracks feature to the best of our ability. And then, of course, for anyone coming from the Crew ecosystem, you're going to benefit from all of what Hylo already has, because Hylo has very strong community features. And it's all about getting people in the room together, facilitating collaboration, helping people join forces on projects and host events and help each other with requests and offers. And there's chat, and it's there's a lot that is to be gained for folks coming from Crew to Hylo that will really help activate groups and energize them and get people talking and doing things together. So we're so excited that we're combining the best of both worlds here and carrying on Crew's legacy. So, um, I think that's a pretty good start. Yeah, I think I'll turn it over to Tibet. And I'm also gonna drop a link in the chat that goes through like all the details and has a link to our blog post and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Tibet and let you share about what we've built and show it off and talk about the timeline and all that good stuff.
Thank you, Claire. Hello, everyone. My name is Tibet. I'm one of the lead developers of Hylo. I've been working on the tracks functionality the last couple months. I will share my screen, but actually first, is there anyone here who has not used Hylo at all? Okay, a couple people. I'm not going to do a full demo of Hylo, but I just want to like be conscious of maybe you haven't actually used Hylo or seen the interface, and I'll touch on some of that as I go. So I'm going to be sharing, this is our staging test environment. So you'll see a bunch of test data, but it's the kind of test version of our community on Hylo called Building Hylo, which is, maybe we can put a link into the chat of how to join that, but it's an open community where we invite people to kind of talk about the process of building Hylo, and we share about the process and get input from our community. So you can see in our test version, it's set up with the kind of main stream of posts as our home. I think in the production version, it's using our general chat instead, but we're just playing with different things here. And you can see we have this new tracks item here. And actually, this tracks link will only appear in your group when you have first create a track. And then it will appear in your menu for all your users, but you can edit that and remove it if you don't want it there. And so that shows the current tracks that are in the group and allows people to access them. I see the question, what does a track do? A track is the name we're using for, yeah, a learning journey. It's basically a set of steps, but I'll walk through it as I create a track and walk through the feature. And it can be used for courses, it can be used for projects, it can be used for all kinds of things. So let me start by creating a track. And so if you click the plus button, which is where you can anywhere in the platform create something, create a discussion or an event or an offer request, we have this new item track, which will only appear if you are a steward of this group. So, anyone can create these other types of posts, but tracks can only be created by stewards of the group that you're in. So I'm going to create kind of a duplicate from our last demo, but I'll create a track that's about how do you set up your Hylo group. And I think I had, realizing I didn't have a banner image all queued up, but I'll just pick some image as banner. Doesn't have to be the exactly right one. And so this, imagine, you're coming into building Hylo and you're trying to like understand Hylo and you want to create a group. This is a little learning journey that could help you set up your group well. And we might have a detailed description of how to best make your group thing. A welcome message when someone joins, completion message, and you can give people a role or a badge in your community when they complete this track. So I created this group wizard one, and this could even be a way that you add moderators or administrators to your group who have actual powers in the group. They have to go through a learning journey. Once they've completed it, they gain powers. They gain the ability to moderate. Maybe they just have to like read through and understand your agreements or things like that. And then you can change, within a track, we have basically a series of actions that people go through to complete. You can change the name of that. So I'm just going to call it steps here. And I'm going to, well, I'll create it unpublished just to show how to do that. So I didn't really add a sophisticated description, but this is where your description can have images in it. It can have rich text content. Um, and this is me viewing it as a steward. So I can see this edit tab and see that it's not yet published. But before I publish it, I'm going to go in and start adding steps. And so the first one is add a great purpose statement to your group. And I will add an image to that, which kind of shows where and how to do that in your group settings. And then we have different ways that people can complete an action. So they could just say, I did it, click a complete button. We could have them leave a comment. So then it's sort of a group process and you can see everyone's comments of saying, I completed this, or this is what I did to complete this task, this action. They can complete it by leaving an emoji reaction to the action. You could have a multiple choice, kind of almost like a quiz, like they have to choose an answer and they can add options here. And, or just, they can have one where it's like a series of checkboxes, or they just can choose one option. In this case, I'll say respond to a prompt. So maybe we ask them to just put in their purpose statement and I'll add that. And then I'll add a next step, which is add a location to your group. And in this case, let's see. Oh, there's the ability to upload an attachment. So if it's, upload a file that's your proposal description or something, that's another way that we have people complete actions. So in this case, I'll just have them mark as complete. So you can reorder your actions and then they appear in this steps tab. And in this case, they can't be interacted with yet because it's not been published and haven't enrolled. But I'm going to publish this now. And then I'm also going to add it directly to the menu so everyone can easily access it. So if I go down to edit my group menu, click add a view, we now have the ability to add a track. And so I'll search for that. Oh, I was right. I have two of them. Which one's the right one? Let's find out. No, that's not the one. Oh, I have the same one. Okay. Delete these ones. So now I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I will share a different screen. Okay, so now I am logged in as a different user. I realized I added the track to the bottom of the group menu. Maybe we want to move it up, but for now you can see setting up a group in Hylo is now visible in the menu. And so if I click here, you see the information of the track and the ability to enroll in it. And so if I enroll, then we see the steps at the top because that's what I called my series of actions. And you can see them in order and it shows kind of which one is the next action to complete. So, this is kind of assuming that you've already created your group and we're just guiding you through the steps of what you would do after creating it. Set up your purpose statement. So I'm going to say, I went through this, I did it. I set up my purpose statement. And now it says I have completed this task. And then the next action is to add a location to my group. So I went through, I did that. I'm going to mark it as complete. Ta-da! I have completed the setting up your group on Hylo track, and I've earned a new role, Group Wizard. And so that badge will now appear on my profile in this group. So now if I go back to the admin view, I guess I need to close, stop sharing here. Go back to this one. So now I'm in my tracks and actions settings. And so if you go into your group settings up here at the top, there's a new tab called tracks and actions. You can publish or unpublish tracks here. You can see how many people have enrolled in a track and completed it. So this is the one that I had just set up. And um, let's see, there's one thing that we will yeah, this is not 100% complete. There's a few little pieces that we're going to be finishing over the next week or so, including the mobile side of things before we publish this to production. We will have a tab up here that shows a list of all the people that have completed a track and enrolled in it. But for now, I can look in here on each action, and as a steward, it'll show me who has completed the action, and I can view all their responses. And this has not been quite styled yet, but you can see it'll be a list of everyone who's completed this action, when they completed it, and what their response was. Um, let's see. I think that's about it. Claire, Krisha, jump in if I miss something. But that's the basic functionality. It's pretty simple and flexible. And we'll next go into what is coming next in the next version of Drax. But maybe I'll pause here and see if there's any questions or other things that people want to
Mm.
know.
You can show in my home.
Oh yeah. So yeah, if we go into kind of your profile area, we have a new area that's under my content, which is tracks. And this shows you all of the tracks that you have enrolled in all the different groups that you're in. So easy way to access all of your tracks.
Great. Yeah, we do have some really good questions in the chat. Um, the first question from Maggie is who has access to answers? And that Krisha started to answer this, but I think it also depends on what type of response you select as the person creating the action. Isn't that right, Tibet? Some responses are available to everyone and some are private only to the creators. Can you go over that real quick?
Yeah, so we have a new responsibility in Hylo groups called manage tracks and actions. And so you can, as a coordinator or administrator of the group, you can assign people to be kind of track managers, and all of those people can see all the responses on all the actions. There are two types of responses that everyone can see in the group, which is comments and emoji reactions. So if you want it to be kind of a group publicly visible, like everyone's responses, then you would use probably the comment one. So it's just like a series of comments on the action that everyone can see. And we are going to add in the next version the ability to kind of toggle our responses visible only to the track managers in the group, or are they visible to everyone if you want it to have, again, it be a bit more of a like communal process. We're all uploading our art images or whatever that we created for some sort of group project, then that will be an option coming soon. Um, how and where are uploaded documents stored? So right now they're stored in servers that we manage that are on AWS. Um, yeah, so in terms of security, I mean, we as Hylo stewards could access those documents at this time. They're not like fully encrypted or anything like that. And let me know if you have more questions about that. When will the tracks feature officially be added? My guess is we're about a week away from finishing up the final polish. I need to check in with Tom, who's working on the mobile features, and see where those are at, because we want to release that at the same time. Adding video. So you can add a video to an action, definitely. Um, there we have the ability to have like featured videos that kind of display right in the action and people can click on them. We don't currently in this version have the ability to add a video to the track description, and that is something that we will be adding very soon, like an embedded video within the track description. And could you give some brainstorm ideas of how to use Hylo for different types of organizations? Well, we have many types of organizations using Hylo. I don't know, Krisha or Claire, if you want to answer
I just
that.
gave my email. I'd be happy to have a one-on-one call with you because it's a big question. There's many different types of groups organizing, from communities of practice, to mutual aid groups, bioregional groups. So there's a lot of flexibility with how you can use Hylo. But yeah, I'd happy to connect one-on-one with you. You can send me an email and we can navigate that.
Any other questions before we jump into what's next?
I see Krista is asking for access to the staging environment. Can you go over that real quick?
Yeah, we can, you can sign up on the staging environment if you want to, just like you can sign up in Hylo. And actually, we're gonna recruit potentially some people on this call if you want to be
Yes,
testers and test out the functionality, create a group, add some tracks, and give us feedback or find bugs. That would be super helpful.
Well, yeah, if anyone's interested in that, maybe drop your email in the chat.
yeah,
Um, and the staging environment is accessible, and we can totally set you up on that if you want like a little head start looking at this stuff. Um, Tibet and Krisha, if you want to share, go ahead and share like the next phase beyond this. I think that could be good just to give people some further context on the
absolutely.
journey of this feature, and then we can have more time for questions and conversation.
Definitely. Okay, let's see here. So we already talked a little bit about responses and like the visibility of those responses. So there'll be some developments with that where all types of responses could be made available. So it's more of a collaborative learning environment where you can see other people's answers and be able to learn together. We also will be embedding video capabilities and track description, the ability to unlock content with badges. So right now we have really flexible roles and badges features with Hylo, and these badges and roles can be used to unlock content, including like sequential tracks. We'll also be implementing track dates and deadlines. So that tracks with dates can appear in the group calendar, and enrolled participants can get reminders about tracks, so notification reminders in Hylo. We'll be implementing a required order for actions. Right now, there's kind of a bit of flexibility with which actions you can access. You don't have to go in a sequential order necessarily. And we'll be implementing a feature where there is a required order for actions for more sequential learning journey. We have the Hylo Commons, which is a space for any and all members of Hylo to come together and share what they're doing. It's a public space for all Hylo members, and we'll be also allowing stewards to share tracks beyond their group in the Commons. Lastly, we'll be implementing more detailed track metrics and tuition so that groups can charge tuition for tracks within their group. So a lot to come. We're not entirely sure the timelines for these features and when they'll be made available, but we'll be sharing updates with our community members and building Hylo. Back to you, Claire.
Amazing. Yeah, and some of these things we have a pretty good sense of when they're coming. For example, having badges start to unlock content is something we're going to be working on in our next scope of work, right after tracks is complete. And then paid groups and paid tracks is something we're going to be working on in late summer. Um, and we're saying paid, that you could think of that as a donation for your group or whether it's for profit or nonprofit or whatever, that's up to you. And that will include being able to charge for tracks individually. So we're really excited to offer that because it's so important for groups to be able to resource themselves and do that collectively as well. And that relates to our next feature set, which is participatory funding for groups. Another piece of Hylo that we haven't really touched on yet is that we have governance tools for groups, something that's very, very unique. Um, so we haven't shown those, but there's a whole feature set that includes proposals and will soon include participatory grant making features so that groups can be working together to make decisions and even do very complex things like manage money together. So that might not apply to every single group on here, but it is a really exciting capability for the culture that we are supporting with Hylo, which is a participatory stewardship culture where people have the tools they need to make impactful change in the world. Um, so one last thing I want to say before we open it up for more questions and discussion. I've been the point of contact for crew folks wanting to explore coming over to Hylo, but I'm about to go on maternity leave. There's a whole big baby down here you can't see. And Krisha is going to be the point of contact going forward for the next few months. So if you have any questions, whether you're on Hylo or on Crew, and you're curious about transitioning over and you have questions about migration, Krisha is the person you can reach out to. She just dropped her email in the chat, and she would be happy to help you further explore that. Yep. And yeah, and we'll definitely be keeping everyone completely up to date with our timeline. We will post on Hylo when this is all launched, which it sounds like it's going to be just about another week. And we will be in touch with the stewardship team at Crew, of course, and we'll let Talus know exactly when to. Yeah, we'll pass on the word to Talus, and Talus will pass on the word to all the Crew folks when these features are officially open for business. And we're really excited to welcome anyone that wants to come over. And again, we know it's such a big decision, but we hope you'll join us over on Hylo. Yeah, so does anyone else have questions that have come up?
So my understanding is that all of the features have now been launched, correct? So we can go ahead and explore them.
Well, Hylo is live on the internet, of course, right now. So you're definitely welcome to right now go onto Hylo. You can make a group, you can test it out, like make your own little sandbox. The tracks features are in our staging environment, and so they're not yet in live on the internet. And that's what's coming in a week. And for people that are interested in getting like a behind the scenes early look at them, we can set you up on our staging environment. And that's really helpful for us because maybe you'll find a bug that we haven't found and then we can fix it before we launch. Um, yeah. Krisha, was there anything else you want to say about testers?
Yes, I will be updating our test plan today of including the various features that you can test within Tracks in Action. And we're recruiting testers. So if anyone here is interested in supporting us with that. It's a huge help to have more members of the community be a part of that process. So we'll have a list of different tests you can conduct, and instructions to submitting bugs, which are super helpful in getting this launched quicker. So if you're interested in that, just send me an email. I've already put my email in the chat, but here it is one more time, and I can onboard you into that test plan and that testing spreadsheet and get you set up.
And folks are also just welcome to go into the staging environment just to click around and get a better sense of the features and no obligation to support with testing. But just as a community-led project, this is how we do a lot of our testing, is we invite the community in to help us with that process. So it's just a fun way to contribute to the Hylo platform. And I saw a question from Diogo, which Krisha has already answered. No, it's absolutely not mandatory for anyone from Crew to come over to Hylo. That's going to be a decision for each group on Crew to make for themselves. And I've talked to so many groups, dozens, and they all have different needs and different emphasis. And there's so many platforms in the world that have different specialties as well. So everyone from Crew is going to find the platform that works for them. And Hylo is one is like being presented as like the most values aligned option. Hylo is also a nonprofit like Crew. Hylo is free to use, and we have all of these community features that really support the types of things that most of the groups on Crew are trying to do. But of course, some of those communities are going to go elsewhere. There's other options out there. There's other fish in the sea, and that's okay. We won't be hurt if you choose something else. But the Crew platform will be shutting down and going offline in the fall. And we don't know exactly when they're going to be in charge of that. I think they're thinking September, October. So there will be like an overlap period where we've launched our features and there's time for people on Crew to have their migration process. A lot of the Crew communities are on the academic calendar, so our goal was to make sure that any community that wanted to transition could do so before the next academic year. So you don't have to come here, but but you won't be able to stay there. Yep. Okay, just looking at the chat to see if we have any other questions. And yes, for Lisa, with visibility of communities, that's completely up to you as the steward of your group. So you can create a group on Hylo that's completely private and invite only. Or if you choose, you could have a group that's publicly visible, but again, invite only, or people need to request to join. It's there are degrees of both visibility and access. So it's very finely tuned for what your needs are. Like maybe you want your group to be discoverable by people on Hylo. And we love it when people choose that because that's kind of the magic of Hylo is that it's building bigger movements. But of course, sometimes it's more appropriate just to have your private group for people in your program and it's not open to the public. So that's completely up to you. All right, any final questions? Are we going to have a really efficient call here? Great. Okay. Well, thank you for folks who raised your hand about staging and testing. We'll be in touch. And we'll be in touch with everyone regardless with our timeline and when all the features are ready for you to dive in. Oh, was this question answered? The security question. We'll circle back to that real quick. I think Tibet touched on that, which is that we follow industry standard security in terms of storage of documents and things, and those attachments, images that are put into the Hylo platform are stored in a secure server on AWS, And the only people who have access to that are trusted members of our team who have to use two-factor authentication. So we're following all industry best practices there. Um, Anything that you would find on a comparable platform. And in the future, we are exploring things like encryption and more advanced modern security, distributed and decentralized backend hosting. All of those things are in our future. But for now, you can just trust that we're following industry best practice.
There's one more question I just want to make sure was answered by Maggie regarding plans for lives or podcasts hosted directly on Hylo.
Ah, I see. So adding like video calls or audio calls directly into Hylo. That's definitely something we would love to do. It's not in our short-term roadmap, and we would probably do it using integrating an open source audio video platform like Jitsi or Big Blue Button. But of course, you can add a Zoom link or a Google Meet link or something like that, right in your menu or in a Hylo post and just link people to another platform for that. That's the easiest way to do it right now.
And one more thing, Maggie, if you post a Vimeo or YouTube link within a post description, you can essentially embed a video that's playable from Hylo. So you could have a stream of videos that are playable directly within Hylo.
Cool. Okay, I think we got all the questions. Thank you all so much for being here with us today and being curious about tracks and Hylo. We hope that we can serve your group. And yeah, we'll be sharing this video out, and Talus will send it around to the crew folks. So please share it with your teams and any other stakeholders that are curious about all this. And yeah, welcome to our community if you're not already part of it, and have an awesome day. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
all.
Thanks, Earl.
You're welcome. Take care.